Whitman information about the upcoming tricentennial celebration of the old town of Abington. As you may know, Abington was once comprised of the three towns, Abington, Rockland, and Whitman, and then they eventually split into the three current-day towns. But for next year in 2012, Abington will celebrate the birth of the homeland on June 10th, 2012. There'll be a series of events planned in Abington and in Rockland and Whitman throughout the entire year. But tonight we're going to concentrate on one of the parts of the tricentennial celebration that we've already begun working on, and that is the commemorative booklet for the 300th anniversary for the town of Abington. With me tonight, I'm happy to have four members of the booklet committee who's helping out with the celebration of the tricentennial. Sitting to my left, or going left to right across your television screen, are Miss Rosie Walls, followed by Miss Eileen Walls, Miss Irene Nicholson, and our friend from Rockland, Mr. Jim Paul from the Rockland Historical Commission. The four of these guys here are part of the volunteers for the booklet committee, and the booklet is always something that's a treasured keepsake for each of the many celebrations that the towns have gone through. We actually have some of the books here from the 200th celebration, from the 250th celebration, and now Abington is putting together the booklet for the 300th celebration. It's a booklet that always has great photographs of current day Abington, advertisements from the local businesses, so that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, people can look back at you and at your business and at your town and at your photos and get a sense of what Abington was and what we were celebrating. So let me start first with Rosie, and just, and in general, what is it that the booklet committee, I just kind of summarized part of the booklet, but what is it you'd like people at home to get an idea why they should buy this book?
Well, this book is going to set it apart from other books in that we have different people from the three different towns working on it. We have Rockland representatives and Whitman representatives, and we kind of want to focus on the last 100 years. And there's certainly significant events, and people have unbelievable accomplishments from each town. Each town has a history since the split, and we want to honor that history.
And Eileen, what is your role now as part of this committee? I know you've already started some work. Well, maybe you could tell us some of the work you've started and what you're looking forward to do in the next coming months, really.
Right. Well, I'm one of several people on the committee who are charged with doing the writing of the history. We took the 300 years and split it among several people. I took the early history basically because through my schoolwork I had a lot of research done from the 1600s to 1912, and then other people are doing 1912 to 2012. We are having Rockland people add their early history, Whitman people adding their early history as well, but there are still areas that aren't covered because there's nothing really documented or written about those areas. So I would like the townspeople to think about, in all three towns, if there's anyone out there who has documented history of, say, the police departments in the towns, fire departments, sports history. I think would really be something nice to have in the booklet, and it catches people's interest. Famous people, people who have gone from the towns and perhaps gone on to do things that are remarkable, whether inside the town or outside the town. Military history, the history of the churches in the town. Yep. So we pretty much have the history, this happened in this year, covered, but those areas that I just mentioned, if there are people out there that have knowledge and facts and information related to any of those things, and they'd like to bring it to the committee, write it, share it, that we would like to put some of those things in the booklet as well. So
maybe if someone was present at an event either recently or 10, 30, 40 years ago, or maybe their grandfather told them a favorite story, if they could help us document it, it might be something that we'd like to include into the booklet.
Right, especially in the last 100 years. The history prior to that time has been done in the booklets before. It's pretty well documented, so that's easy to research, and we had decided early on in the committee that it's been done before, and although we are going to mention the early history because it's interesting and important, we really want to focus on the last 100 years. Not much has been done about that, and lots of things obviously have happened. Jim earlier mentioned storms that have affected the town. If people have pictures of those kinds of things or information. So we really do need the townspeople of all three towns to contact us, and I know that you have information as to how to do that, to help us really write the full history of Old Abington.
And really make it just a great, thorough book
Right,
that people
exactly.
can really enjoy for decades to come.
Right.
Now, Irene, you're a very important part of this committee because, as I understand, you have a graphic design background, and
Yes.
you have a role in basically helping to really put the book together literally.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about, you have a business in Abington that does this type of work. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I've been doing historical books for about 30 years, and this is exciting for me because I've been in town for over 40 years. Not a townie, but if people, what we're looking for is photos and stories. The committee is providing stories, but photos, no matter how bad they might appear, Photoshop can clean them up and make them, you know, really good. Events, storms, pictures that, and ads. We'd like all the businesses, but not just businesses, families to put in, you know, a few words about how long they've been in town and, you know,
Now,
things that
where
they
is your
enjoy.
business located?
I'm at 700 Bedford Street. It's right beside Dempsey's, the building where Russ Wheatley is. and
Right on the corner of Shar Avenue and Bedford
Exactly,
Street, right on Route
exactly,
18.
yeah.
Russ Wheatley's office building that a lot of people know. So if someone at home has a photo, whether it's 70 years old or 7 years old, how can they get it to you? Should they bring the original photo? Should they scan it? What should they do?
It would be better if they can scan at 300 DPI. It has to be a high-resolution scan to print. If they can do that, they can email it. If not, they can drop it by. I'm there, you know, just about all the time, and I'll scan it immediately and give them back their photo.
Great,
That
so they
way-
can come right to your office.
Exactly.
What,
yeah.
do you have a phone number there they can use?
It's 781-878-5511.
878-5511, that's an easy one, okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Great. And ask for Irene, she can help you
Well,
out.
everybody in the I've been there 30 years. Everyone knows you know, where I am. I'm in the back, right across from beside Dempsey's.
Excellent.
The old Dempsey's. Yeah.
Now, Jim, you're from Rockland.
Yes.
Formerly known as East Abington.
Yes.
And we welcome you here back to the motherland. And you are one of the people that are helping out, bring the guys and girls from Rockland and Whitman and Abington all together to celebrate this. And you brought a great example of one of the old photos. If you could hold it up for a minute there. This is one of the larger and older photos. Tell us a little bit about this photo itself.
Oh, this is the bicentennial parade that was held in 1912 in Rockland. This is Union Street going down this way. This is the corner of Webster Street, which comes up this way with the tracks. So it's the corner of Webster and Union. The fire station is here, which is the same location where it is now. And this was a fantastic parade that really, it shows how the town got excited about the parade and just really buildings are all dressed in bunting and
Right.
and this is one of many photos that the Historical Commission has acquired. And we've got a few more, quite a few more that we're in the process of developing. We'll probably include one or two of these in the booklet. And part of the Historical Commission's focus, we acquired these a few years ago, and they are glass negatives, actual glass negatives.
Yep.
So they're fairly delicate. We're in the process now of getting some developed, but it is a process. This particular photo in frame was donated by Stephanie Olson, who's a Rockland photographer, and she did a series of these, the first ones that we were able to see, and donated them to the town. And these hang at Town Hall now.
The photos are great because as you know, as we were talking before the show, it shows the style of clothing at the time. It shows the buildings, some which are still there, some which are not there. It shows the trolley tracks, the cobblestone in the streets. Really gets a snapshot of what life was like 100 years ago for that one. And that's what we're looking for now for 2012, coming up around the corner here. If people have photos around Abington, if they have a favorite photo of, you know, Island Grove, swimming at Island Grove, or just a nice pictorial picture of the bridge and the leaves, or there are buildings that now exist that didn't exist 50 years ago when the last booklet was made. We were talking a few of them, the library, the police station, the town hall, even some photos of downtown North Abington, Center Abington, your neighborhood, which shows, you know, how big the trees are now compared to an older photo that we had before and is on file. So if you've got something, dig them on out, talk to Irene or any member of the committee. We'd love to see if we can fit them in the book. And Rosie, we just brought up a mention of not only photos, not only stories, but advertisements.
Absolutely.
We're looking for businesses and families to put themselves in the book.
Absolutely. We were talking about businesses having a statement about maybe what you're selling or what your business is all about. We had a great, this was the real old one. This was Abington, North Abington and Whitman. And, you know, it shows, you know, more than just a business card. Have a picture or a photo or definitely a little statement about what you're selling. And it doesn't have to be a business. It can be a family who would like to purchase an ad.
Put your kids' names in the book for
Absolutely.
posterity's sake.
You could be a part of history in
Right.
this book with your family or your business.
So we're
whatever is in
encouraging
town.
businesses to not only, you know, buy an advertisement that simply says the name of your business and what your phone number is, but add a little bit to it. Put your address. You know, I've been located on Route 18 for 23 years, and describe a little bit about what your business sells, because we were looking back at the old ones. I mean, they sold things back then that they just don't sell anymore, and that might be true 50 years from now. So, you know, be proud of your business and put it in the book. You only have one shot at this because we only do this once every 300 years. So hopefully you'll take part. There are a lot of other upcoming events that Abington will share, and I just want to mention a few of those before we go too far. On March 3rd, 2012, there'll be the Old Town Tricentennial Gala at the Conference Center at Massasoit in Brockton. It's going to be a large dinner dance for all residents of Abington, Whitman, and Rockland. If you haven't taken part in the history of Abington or in all things Abington, next year is going to be your great opportunity to step up and just meet a lot of great people and have some fun. So March 3rd is going to be one of the events that kicks off the actual 300th year. There's going to be an ecumenical church service in May of 2012, and of course the anniversary parade will be on the anniversary itself. Jack Bailey is the chairman of that committee because he knows all things parades. June 10th, Sunday, June 10th, which is the actual 300th anniversary, we'll have a big parade in Abington. If you'd like to have a float for your business, for your family, or just mark your calendar just to have fun and be there and take some photos of the parade itself. And then we're also scheduling a large fireworks show, which we hope to have a children's parade and a kind of an Old Town Field Day event. That's going to be on June 23rd, about 2 weeks after the actual anniversary parade. And then later on in the year, a fireman's muster and a band concert. I believe that might be in Whitman. And a Civil War Living History Encampment reenactment at Island Grove. That'll be held in September. So a lot of things going on through the years, and these are only some of the events that are planned right now. If you'd like to get involved in any of those events or have an idea of your own, please attend any of the Tricentennial Committee meetings. They meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of the month up at Town Hall. Contact any member of the committee. It's great. The more people, the more ideas, the better it is. A great celebration. And frankly, I know, Eileen, you work with kids all your life. I'm hoping that we do a lot of things and can provide a lot of things that the kids will enjoy. And 50 years from now, they can brag about it. They can talk about it. They can say, I was there. Right. I remember when we did this. And there are people out there now who are telling us what they did 50 years ago. Right. So hopefully kids can be a part of this booklet also.
Well, I know that the committee is working on getting the schools involved in other ways, too. I think there might be a flag contest going on. I think that Kathy Bailey's in charge of kind of the school end of it. But I can remember when we had Christmas celebrations up in North Abington, there was a hayride, and so I brought younger children to that, and they are now adults, and they still talk about that. So that's the idea, that kids will go to these things with their parents, and maybe 50 years from now when there's the 350th, they can tell their children about that. But I think that there will be a lot of things for children. I think the fireworks, obviously, the parade. I'm assuming that the children's parade on the fireworks night will be something like the old 4th of July kind of thing. And those are always fun to watch for adults and fun for the kids to be in. And I think fun for parents, whether they start making the costume for their kids three weeks before or 3 hours before, as some people will want to do. So I'm sure that the kids will be involved. My interest was in the history part of it, and so I had at one point in my teaching career taught Abington history, so I had this lots and lots of information, and the Dyer was a great help, of course. There was a time when we used to take kids through the Dyer. At one point the Dyer was not just a reference library as it really is today. It was also a museum of sorts, and there are lots of things up there that are put away now so that they will be preserved because they were kind of out.
And we're speaking about the Dyer Memorial Library on Center Avenue, right outside Abington Center.
Right.
The nice brick building. It's fascinating.
Beautiful.
If you can go in there. It looks like no one goes in there, but go in there if you have the opportunity.
Right.
It's amazing to see some of the artifacts they still have.
And some people, you'd be surprised at the number who, they have a book that you sign in. You'd be surprised at the number of people from around the state and the country who go there. There are things that Abington has at the Dyer that don't exist elsewhere. There was a man named John Benner in the late 1700s who had a pottery manufacturing site here in Abington, and he was a premier potter. He used clay right from Abington up around Nash Memorial Road, and he made a teapot that is the only existing 18th century teapot that is intact, and we have it at the Dyer Memorial Library. And potters have come from around the country to take pictures of that teapot and use it in their books. So Abington does have a lot of things, even more than the teapot too.
Well, a nice opportunity for people to go to the Dyer
Right.
would be on the night of the house tour.
Right.
The day of the house tour, the Dyer is going to be open.
And that's coming up on December 10th and
December
11th of this year.
It would be the candlelight tour at night, and Sunday, December 11th, is when the Dyer is going to be open. So I hope people take the opportunity to.
That's right. If you
to
haven't
visit
bought a
that.
ticket yet for the Old Town Christmas House Tour, again, it's Saturday, December 10th is the evening, the candlelight tour. Sunday, December 11th is the afternoon tour. Tickets are very limited, and it sells out every year, guaranteed.
It does.
Tickets are spread around town. I know they're at Vin and Eddie's, they're at my law office on 500 Washington Street. They're at Mia Ragazza. They're at the Public Library, I believe. A couple places around town, but get your tickets early because they sell out every time. It's a great time, and as you
It
said, there'll be
is.
4 houses, and the Dyer Library will be on the tour. It's a great opportunity for people to get in there if they've never been there before. Irene, I wanted to ask you something about the photos that someone might bring to you. I would expect it to be very helpful if anyone were to submit a photo, if they could also attach a description of what is in the photo and who is in the photo,
Exactly.
so we can include those details.
Right. They can either type it out or write it out, and we'll code them in. You know, the photo will be coded to the caption. But
Yeah.
that is important.
Because sometimes a photo that you might find in your attic or from in your grandfather's stuff, it's what's in the background that's fascinating. It's the old business in the background, you know, Owens News, you know, some
the
of the
car.
Erickson's News,
Right.
and, you know, all the different older businesses, and maybe, you know, it's a picture of yourself 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you might sneak it in the book for posterity's sake.
The ads, we can take, if someone has a business card with a logo on it, they choose the size of the ad and the wording. And if they have a photo that they want to go in, or a logo, or anything, I can take it, incorporate it, and create an ad for them. If they have an existing ad that's a high-resolution PDF file, that can be emailed, which is great. I can even resize it to fit into the book.
Great, so if you have any questions about that, again, you can call Irene's business at 878-5511.
There you go.
Or
Wow.
you can send an email to the website, to the Tri-State Committee, which we've shown that on the screen a few times. A couple other updates of upcoming events. On November 13th, there'll be another road race. We're having the Tri-Town Road Races. We've already completed the road race in Rockland. I want to thank our friends in East Abington. Whitman is hosting the second road race on November 13th at 1 o'clock. It's going to start and finish at McGuigan's Pub, the Irish pub right in Whitman Center. So you can either run it or you can walk it. It's a great time to get out amongst, you know, all friends and family. And then Abington will be hosting a road race, I believe, in the spring. And then they're looking to organize an actual half marathon that will go through all 3 towns, again, as part of the Tricentennial next year. So there's things for everyone to do. The house tour, the road race, you can walk. And I have to also mention November 12th coming up at the Copeland Reading Room, the Copeland Room in the Abington Public Library is the 300th Anniversary Commemorative Items Bazaar. There's going to be all sorts of things. Maybe, Rose, you can tell us a little bit more about
They'll
the bazaar.
have T-shirts, golf shirts, Christmas ornaments, medallions, buttons, everything Abington.
The library will be open during that time. It's open
Right.
from, I believe, 11 to 4. So stop by, young and old. The kids can go read a book. Mom and Dad can look around and and pick up a few things to keep
Right.
as a keepsake again. We're going to take a quick break and show some information up on the screen. We'll be back with a little more, a few more minutes of information about Abington's Tricentennial Celebration and our booklet committee. Be back right after this. I want to correct an earlier statement I said. The Tricentennial Committee doesn't meet on Tuesdays. It meets on the second and fourth Wednesdays of each month up at the Town Hall. So if you're interested, stop on by a meeting, 7 o'clock, the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. They meet on the second floor of the Town Hall. No commitment, just come on by, listen to what's going on, or share an idea with the many people who attend those meetings every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Just getting back to some of the discussions we had earlier, Eileen, Rosie, Irene, and Jim, again, I want to thank you for being here. We were talking about putting together this booklet, and when do you expect the booklet to come out, and then what can people do after the booklet has been issued?
Well, that's a good question. We are hopefully will have the book published, ready for sale this next spring, spring of 2012.
Yep.
And after that, we plan to continue working. We would like to have, as opposed to a supplement, another book. We have a lot of tricentennial activities going on throughout the year that we were thinking of maybe producing a DVD, having photos to music of all the activities and the festivities. And
So people who attend these events are encouraged to, again,
pictures,
take photos.
if we have some nice pictures, we could really make a great DVD.
Well, that'd be great. So we'll have a booklet that will be in the spring, and then a DVD
Covering
perhaps it'll be
all
done at the end
the
of the year.
activities and festivities that everyone's
Something you can
going
put on the
to.
shelf and kind of and save for posterity, save for your own kids.
Right.
And you're wearing one of the items
Yes,
that
I am.
that we're promoting, and it's helping to spread the word and spread a little Green Wave pride.
Right.
A nice shirt for
This
the
is
2012.
a golf shirt.
That's right.
Golf shirt.
And
we
Eileen
have
has the
t-shirts.
t-shirt.
T-shirt, this is the Abington T-shirt.
And Irene has the Rockland version of the T-shirt. The Whitman version of the T-shirt has not been released yet for publication. That is going to be held secret until the road race on November 18th. I believe it was November 18th in Whitman. So that will be available if you get down to the road race. You can see the style that Whitman has. I'm sorry, it's November 13th
Right.
in Whitman, the McGuigan's Pub road race. If you'd like to buy a shirt now, the golf shirts are
$20.
$20. Why don't you let us know where you can buy them?
I believe Bemis has them. Yeah, very kind enough to sell them.
And the T-shirts are $10 each at Bemis Drug. Everyone
Right.
should have one in Abington. In fact, if you're an Abington High School senior, class of 2012, this is something that every
Oh,
one of you
yeah.
should be
Really
wearing
great.
to celebrate your senior year and your 300th birthday. Now, Jim, our man from Rockland here, you mentioned something during our break about the significance of the reenactment, the historical Civil War reenactment that's going to be held in September at Island Grove, September of next year. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's for the next 4 years, it's the 150th anniversary of the Civil War, and the Abington's Arch in Island Grove was a memorial for the Civil War. Is that right? The right word? And the encampment is going to take place on an anniversary of, I believe it was the Antietam battle. So it all ties in together. It's very significant. The reenactors really live the history. They're going to be camping there overnight, and if people can get a chance to get out there and and go at night, because they've got their candles going, they've got the campfires going, they're actually cooking their food, they're living that type of life that they lived 150 years ago.
So it would be a very unique opportunity for residents around Abington and Whitman and Rockland. Once you cross that bridge, you're going to kind of go back in time 150 years into a Civil War encampment with people dressed and living in that time period. So it'll be fascinating, I'm sure, at Island Grove, which, as you know, was the hub of all things abolitionist meetings there, and a lot of history from Island Grove. If you haven't been to Island Grove, shame on you, you should take a walk across the bridge. And speaking of the Memorial Arch, there is an article at town meeting on October 24th for proposed funds to renovate the arch in the Eagle. The bridge also needs a lot of work, but this current proposal is to try to renovate that on the occasion of our 300th anniversary, because the arch, Eagle, and bridge were actually built on the 200th anniversary of Abington as a gift to the town. So townspeople will have an opportunity to consider whether we should invest some money to protect that investment and bring it up to you know, restore its beauty. It's a really nice arch and memorial. Did you want to say something, Eileen?
You mentioned the Battle of Antietam, and the abolitionist monument that's inside the grove itself was paid for by Moses Arnold, who was an Abington shoe manufacturer, went off and fought in the Civil War, big abolitionist. And he was actually wounded at the Battle of Antietam, survived and came back to Abington and continued to live here for many years. And the archway that you were talking about was paid for and dedicated by Lewis Crossett, who owned Crossett Shoe, which is now New England Art, whereas the bridge was paid for by the townspeople. I think it was $23,000. And 1,200 men from Abington went off and fought for the Union side in the Civil War. Some made it back, most made it back, thankfully. Some did not. So there's a lot of history there, and there's a lot of history in Abington, and most of it will be in our book.
That's right.
Yes.
It is a great thing if you can kind of enjoy Abington. We invite everyone, young and old, to take part in these festivities. But if you want to be part of this book, if we're going to have it published in spring, that means you have to submit everything this fall. We really encourage you to go through some of your old stuff, sit down, write out a couple of memories perhaps, and submit them to the committee. Either you can go to one of the meetings on the Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and the Wednesdays, the second and fourth Wednesdays, or get on the website and you can send in your messages. And again, if you want to send in a photo or have a question about a photo, 878-5511 is the best way to get those answers, and we encourage it. I'm looking forward to seeing this book. Have a little bit of the history during the last 100 years, but also a representation of what Abington is today, all for the benefit of Abington in the future. So I'd like to thank you once again, not only for appearing here tonight, but for all the work that you guys have done thus far, and I know you have a lot of work ahead of you. I encourage everyone to take part. If you can't become part of a committee, then come to the events and enjoy the events and be part of Abington as we celebrate our 300th anniversary with our sister towns of Whitman and Abington. Whitman and Rockland. So enjoy this Tri-Town Festival all year in the year 2012, and thanks for tuning in.